Damian Castellano checked his watch for the third time, sitting alone at the best table in the city's most exclusive restaurant. At 38, as CEO of Castellano Enterprises, he'd built a real estate empire through calculated decisions and emotional distance. The same approach had left him perpetually single. This was it, the last blind date. He'd promised his concerned sister he'd try one more time, and then she'd stop meddling in his life. After tonight, he could return to the comfortable solitude of board meetings and quarterly reports. His date was late. 15 minutes late. Typical. Damian was about to leave when he noticed a young woman standing in the restaurant doorway, looking uncertain. She wore a simple burgundy dress that was elegant, but clearly not designer. She carried a worn brown bag and stood there getting soaked by rain blowing in through the open door, apparently too intimidated to enter. Their eyes met. She took a breath and walked toward his table. "Damian Castellano?" she asked quietly. "That's me. You're late." Sorry, the bus was delayed because of the rain, and then I got lost trying to find this place." She sat down carefully, clearly uncomfortable in the opulent surroundings. "I'm Maya Torres." Damian studied her. She was pretty in an understated way, with light brown hair pulled back simply, minimal makeup, and an obvious discomfort with expensive restaurants. Not his usual type at all. "You took the bus?" he asked. "I don't own a car." "Is that a problem?"
No.
"Just unexpected. Most women I meet drive luxury vehicles." "Not most women, I guess." Maya picked up the menu, and her eyes widened at the prices. "This place is very expensive, I'm aware. I own it. You own this restaurant? I own the building. The restaurant leases the space, along with the boutique hotel upstairs and the offices on floors 3 through 6. Maya set down the menu. "Your sister didn't mention you were quite this successful. What did she mention? That you were lonely? That you work too much? That she's worried about you?" The blunt honesty caught Damian off guard. Most blind dates spent the first hour trying to impress him. This woman had just called him lonely to his face. "My sister talks too much," Damian said coolly. "She cares about you. That's nice. I don't have siblings, so I wouldn't know what that's like." They ordered, and Damian found himself oddly curious about this woman who clearly didn't fit his world. "What do you do, Maya?" "I'm a social worker. I help families in crisis navigate the system, find resources, keep their kids safe." "It doesn't pay much, but it matters. How did my sister meet you?" "I helped her friend's family through a difficult custody situation. Your sister was impressed by how I handled it and decided I'd be perfect for you." Maya smiled slightly, though looking around, I'm not sure why she thought that. "We're from very different worlds." That's an understatement. The server brought their food, and Damian noticed Maya eyeing her plate with something like concern. "Something wrong with your meal?" he asked. "No, it's beautiful. I just keep thinking this one plate costs more than I spend on groceries in a month. It feels wasteful when I have clients who can't afford to feed their kids." Most women would have hidden that thought. Maya said it directly, without apology. "If you feel uncomfortable, we can leave," Damian offered, surprising himself. "No, I agreed to this date. I'll see it through, though I have to ask why you're here." "You don't seem very interested in getting to know me." "I'm here because my sister insisted. This is the last blind date I agreed to before she stops trying to fix my life, so we're both fulfilling obligations. That's honest, at least." They ate in relative silence, but Damian found his attention drawn to Maya's observations. She commented on the restaurant's art, identifying the style and period accurately. She noticed the piano in the corner and mentioned she'd played as a child but couldn't afford lessons anymore. "You studied art?" Damian asked. "Art history, actually. Minor in music. I wanted to work in museums, but it didn't pay enough to cover my student loans. So I got my MSW instead and help people more directly. It's not what I planned, but it's good work." "You gave up your dream for practicality." "I gave up one dream for a different one. Helping families stay together matters more than analyzing. Paintings, even if it pays less, and involves more heartbreak." As dinner ended, the rain had intensified. Maya checked her phone and sighed. "The buses aren't running because of flooding. I'll need to call a rideshare. This is going to be expensive. Damien found himself making an offer he hadn't planned. I'll drive you home. You don't have to do that, I know. But you took a bus in the rain to have dinner with a stranger because my sister asked you to. The least I can do is make sure you get home safely. His driver brought the car around and Maya slid into the luxury vehicle with visible discomfort. She gave an address in a modest neighborhood across town. As they drove, Maya asked, "Can I be honest with you about something? You've been brutally honest all evening. Why stop now? You're exactly as lonely as your sister said. I can see it. You've built walls around yourself, convinced that success is enough. But it's not, is it? That's why you agreed to these dates even though you clearly don't enjoy them." Damien felt anger flash, then fade into something else. Recognition. You're very perceptive for someone who just met me. I work with people in crisis. I've learned to see past what they show the world to, what they're actually feeling. You're successful and powerful and completely isolated. It's sad. They pulled up to Maya's apartment building, a modest complex in obvious need of repair. She gathered her bag, then paused. "Thank you for dinner. And for the ride home. I know this wasn't what you wanted, and I wasn't what you expected. But your sister was right to worry about you. I hope you find someone who can reach past those walls. Before they become permanent." She got out of the car and walked toward her building, leaving Damien sitting in stunned silence. Over the next week, Damien couldn't stop thinking about Maya's words. She'd seen through him in one evening, had named the loneliness he'd been denying. For years, he found himself driving past the social services office where she worked. On impulse, he went inside. Maya was at her desk, surrounded by files and a ringing phone, looking exhausted and determined. She looked up in surprise when she saw him. "Damien, what are you doing here? I want to take you to dinner again." Dinner, not a blind date obligation. Somewhere modest, where you won't worry about the cost. Just to talk. Why? Because you were right about everything. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about what you said. About the walls I've built. About being lonely. Maya studied him carefully. "I work until 6. There's a diner 2 blocks from here. Meet me there at 6:30 if you're serious." He was there at 6:15 when Maya arrived, still in her work clothes. They talked for 3 hours. About her work, his business, the dreams they'd both sacrificed, and the ones they still held. About loneliness and connection, and the risk of letting someone in. "I'm not what you're used to," Maya said. "I'll never fit in your world. Don't. Want expensive things or society events? I want authenticity and purpose. Maybe that's exactly what I need. Someone who doesn't fit my world but could help me build a better one."
Oh.
They dated carefully over the next months. Damien learned about Maya's work, started donating to the causes she cared about, found purpose beyond profit. Maya learned to navigate Damien's business obligations, offering perspective without judgment. 1 year after that rainy first date, Damien proposed. Not at an expensive restaurant, but at Maya's cramped office, surrounded by case files and ringing phones in the middle of her real life. "I was going to quit dating after that night," Damien said at their wedding. "One last blind date and then I'd accept being alone." But Maya saw something in me I'd forgotten existed. She saw past the success to the person underneath, and she cared enough to tell me the truth, even when it was uncomfortable. Maya added her own words. "I almost didn't go that night. I felt out of place before I even arrived. But I went because someone asked me to try. I found a man who'd convinced himself he didn't need connection. Helping him remember that he did, that we all do, has been the most important work of my life. The CEO who'd agreed to one last date had found something he hadn't known he was missing. And the social worker in the burgundy dress had discovered that the right words spoken honestly at the right moment could change to lives forever. If this story touched you, like, share, and subscribe. Comment about honesty that changed everything.